I'm here with actress Danielle Savre, who is currently starring on Station 19. She plays Maya, and the big finale is tomorrow. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about when you decided you wanted to become an actress.
Well, I started at 7 years old, so I don't even know if it was much of a decision or just it happened.
Yeah.
My parents did not get me into it. I was this kind of very bubbly, big personality kid that loved playing dress up and playing different people, and didn't really know that was my passion yet. I just know I loved being eccentric. And my best friend in second grade, her mom was the assistant to the biggest child agent at the time. And so she was
nice.
like, yes, it was convenient.
Good friend picking there.
Yes. And the mom just was like, you need to get Danielle in to meet Cindy. And finally, after telling my mom over and over, she finally, and me also being like, this sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
And I finally went in and met with Cindy. Just met with Cindy. My mom wasn't allowed in the group because they don't want stage moms. And met with Cindy. They signed me that day. And my first audition was for Mattel. Booked it, and it was like a 2-year contract to do Magic Touch Pony, Mattel,
Nice.
Barbie, Polly Pocket, like anything that Mattel made. I was doing the boxes and the commercials for.
Good thing it wasn't a food thing. You would have to keep eating. You would probably not want to be eating any of their food anymore.
After that, I did do Campbell's soup.
Did you?
And I was so sick of cream of mushroom soup by
Yeah.
the end of doing that one. And then there was like iced tea. And anyways, I did commercials and print for years and years and years until finally Cindy was like, do you want to get into TV? And I was like, I think so. I was so scared.
Yeah.
So scared. I had no idea what I was doing. I always loved movies. I loved television, but like I was that kid that was glued to the television at all times, sitting this far away. It's probably why I have horrible eyesight. But yeah. So they kind of just happened that way, and then I started auditioning for television and film. Booked again. My first audition for TV was a pilot. Didn't get picked up to series, but then after that, I didn't work for 3 years. So I basically had So I basically went back to like, now I need to understand this craft and hone it and really understand what it is I'm doing. Because the first one, I just walked in and the character was a bubbly, happy character, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's you. Just you got the role."
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty good luck for your first tries.
I've been very lucky at the beginning, and then of course, then I fell in love with it, and it sucked me in, and then I went through my roller coaster ride.
Yeah. Okay, so we were just talking about your luck with booking things right off the gate, even though they didn't turn out that one time. That didn't discourage you at all from pursuing your dream, did it?
It didn't. I think I'm very lucky that I was young because I didn't have the stresses of life yet. I could kind of take those failures and be like, it hurt, it wasn't fun to not have things go my way or to not book jobs, and you still took it personally, but that was like the biggest thing in my life, I wasn't having to pay rent or pay a car payment or any of those things. It wasn't until so I didn't work from like basically 12 to 15, just honed my craft, finally found an acting coach I loved. To this day, I'm her only client.
Nice.
She went to Strasbourg and she taught me all the ways of method. The first day I met with her, she put me in a trunk of a car and made me lift a couch. Like, I was like, I love this woman. She was basically just trying to break down, because I was always this bubbly, happy personality, which I still am today. But
you can't tell at all.
You can't tell?
Not at all.
Yeah, I hide it very well now.
You do.
I wish. But I did learn that when they say action, it turns off, and that's kind of a running kind of joke on set, is I can be laughing, and I usually do, and I'm happy up until they say action. And then it's like a switch that she kind of taught me, to turn off, because you have to tap into those emotions. But I'm just naturally a happy, optimistic person.
That's kind of a gift within itself, that you can snap right into it on a direction like that.
It does feel good. It feels good to be able to. It's very powerful, I think.
And other people probably hate you because they can't do that, and you're cracking up, giggling, and they're giggling, and then it's like, oh crap.
I
now
had
I have to be serious too.
Yeah, I had to learn to be respectful of my co-stars sometimes, because I'm like, if they're going through a tough scene, I can't be all bubbly and happy. That's not fair to them.
Right,
but yeah, it's nice to be able to know that I can do that and hone that in.
Did you go to college for performing arts?
I didn't.
You didn't?
So I ended up graduating high school at 15. So I'd always planned, high school really wasn't for me. I loved school, I loved learning, but it's just the environment and trying to balance school and work was just not working. So at 15, conveniently, I was on a show at the time, and I did this accelerated program where basically it's not a GED, but it's close enough. And so I tested out at 15 and never went to school for performing arts after that.
Wow.
Just learned as much as I could on set and everything I could on set. I always wanted to. I was like, I want to go to NYU. I want to go to USC. I want to really hone in this skill when it comes to actual, from the university standpoint, not just from my acting coach and on set. And for a while there, I contemplated. I did the tour of NYU and the whole thing, and then I booked a job. It always ends up working out this way. Always.
Well,
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. It is. It's been good. And then I went through my phase where I wanted to quit for a while. And then I did, and I bartended, and I went and took economic courses at a community college. And then Heroes asked me to come back for season 4.
Of course.
So
again, your life was right back to the acting
Yep.
world.
Yeah.
It seems like this is what you're destined to do. So I would stop trying to do other things.
It does. Well, it's hard because I think no matter what, I can be as bubbly as I want and as happy as I am. And there's still those moments where it was some of the hardest days of my life when you're just like you're like, I'm never going to work again.
Right.
My manager's like, you think that every time, and then it pans out. But it's no matter what, no matter how much luck you have on your side, when you're not working, you think it's. I think Dustin Hoffman said it once. It's like every job you feel like it's your last.
Well, you definitely have a great personality for bartending and
I made so much money in tips.
Sure, I was just going to say that. I'm sure you did quite well.
I was like, this is not bad. I like this. And I liked customer service and mingling people, so it was fun. But no, nothing beats acting. It's my true passion.
What was your experience like working on Heroes?
It was surreal. I'd never been on something that was such a phenomenon before. And it was also weird because people obviously hated my character. So it was kind of this weird, I'm on this great show, but everybody's like, oh, you're Jackie Wilcox? I hate you. And I'm like, yeah, everyone does. You're supposed to. That means I'm doing my job.
Right.
But it took a while till after the show was over to people to be like, oh my God, I love that character. I love, love to hate her.
And here you are all bubbly in person and they're like, I hate you. It's like,
that's usually what they always say.
That's not me.
No. And they always say usually I'm saying I'm a nice person. I hope I'm nice. But
we will take a poll.
And decide later.
Yes,
Let me know.
We'll take an online poll.
And so they usually say that the nicer people usually always play the kind of mean roles.
Well, it's nice to kind of play against type and different personality from your own.
Always.
It's usually the most challenging, too.
It really is, and the most rewarding, because when you can knock it out of the park, or learn from it because you didn't knock it out of the park, it feels really good.
Yeah, and you get to be a jerk on screen, and then you can be nice in your real life, and you kind of have the best of both worlds.
It's therapy. I kind of look at it as therapy. I'm like, I can pretend to do all the things that I want to do to all those people that were mean to me, and act it out on screen.
How did you handle people coming up to you, and did they confuse you with the character, and were they really brutal, or
they were
just more like, I don't like your character, blah, blah, blah?
They were pretty great. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty great. They do say, it's like a smile on their face. Like, I love the show. I hate your character, but the show's great.
Good,
yeah. They do with a smile on their face. They're happy. But, they would, everyone just kind of, the harsh people are usually just on the internet.
Right.
That's where it's when they're hidden behind the screen.
That's right.
Those are the ones that get really nasty. And I've been through the worst of that, because when I was 15 and I was on Summerland, which was on WB, I mean, girls hated me because I was Jesse McCartney's love interest. And so that's when it really affected me, because I was younger and more influenced by that.
Right.
But now I'm like, you can hear anything and it doesn't affect me. I'm like, that's what? No, don't say that. That's rude. And then I laugh about it.
Zac Efron was on that show too, wasn't he?
Yes. That's so funny. No one ever remembers that.
I'm a gay guy. I mean, we remember Zac Efron, Taylor Lautner, all those people.
He's hard to forget too.
Yeah.
But yes.
He looks a little different now, though.
Yes. And he was growing up, he was such a geek,
Yeah.
on that show, in person too. And so to see him grown to be this hunk, you're so crazy. And those abs. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
So now I'm just picturing his abs. I don't even remember what show you're on.
I forgot too.
What did you work on after Heroes?
So right after Heroes, oh my gosh. Oh, right after Heroes was when I did Kaya. So I ended up booking my own show for the first time, and I'd been auditioning. I'm horrible at auditioning, just so you know. I've gotten better, but now I haven't been doing it for about a year and a half, so I probably went back to being horrible at it. I just get really nervous, sweaty palms, I shake, I talk too much. They're usually I was learned, just stop talking and do the scene, you'll be fine. Just act and then walk out of the room, and that seemed to be a good tactic for me. But so I auditioned, I never could get my own show, and then finally I got Kaya for MTV, and it was a first scripted show, basically because the creator was like, no, she's the one. And so it was 8 different auditions with the entire room full of 25 people.
Wow.
They just kept testing me with different people because the other people didn't want to sign off on it. They're like, no, and then finally I got it.
And for somebody who doesn't feel they're good at auditioning, that's got to be extremely nerve-wracking.
Oh my gosh, it was so nerve-wracking. Every single, and I had to sing. So I had to sing in every audition, which is also something, I love singing, I've always done it. I've released songs, I've done the whole thing, I performed in front of audiences, but doing it in front of a room of just, I'm sure everyone knows, that confined 10 to 20 people where you can see every single face staring at you. and you feel like your voice is quivering and your hands are shaking and no one notices it but you. Yeah, that whole thing. So
Yeah,
it was awesome. And I did it 8 times. It was great.
Yay.
So I felt like I earned that one when I booked it.
Definitely.
And I did that, and that was a whirlwind of an experience. And I did that, and then I went and booked Boogeyman 2, which I made friends for life on. These projects were the ones that were like the kind of that turning point in my career, where those relationships I still have to this day, and I'm extremely close with every single one of them. So, but it was Kaya, then it was Boogeyman 2, and then a film I did called American Primitive, which ended up being turned into Wild About Harry. And that was like a very hot independent film at the time, and I did it, and that was an amazing experience. But that was with Josh Peck and Joanna, I forgot Joanna's last name. But anyways, great cast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Tate Donovan. It was an amazing experience to have those 3 projects back to back, and then all of them, in my mind, didn't live up to the hype. The show only went 1 season. Boogeyman 2 was supposed to be released in theaters. It didn't. It got straight to DVD, and then the film kind of just did the festival circuit, did okay, but didn't do as great as everyone was like really pushing it to do.
Yeah.
And I went through like a whole like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, and just the upset because it's so hard to even get the job. And then you get the job, and then you put so much heart and soul and passion into it, and then for it to not live up to what you were hoping it would be.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, and I have to go through this process again?
Yeah.
The process, though, let's just be honest, never ends.
No. You're safe now, at least for another year, which is good.
Yes, at least right now I have a job.
Yes.
For a little bit of time, but
well, at least for 1 episode in the fall, we don't know
Thank
what
you.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Thank you. Thanks
Actually,
for reminding
we
me
don't know
that.
what's happening tomorrow night. You may not have a job. I think it's a good
That's-
sign you do if you're here promoting it.
Yeah, thanks. No, but it's true. And now with a new showrunner too, that's going to definitely make some bigger changes and bigger shifts and make more scary choices for an actor.
Yeah.
Everyone can possibly go at any time. No one's safe.
When you went in for Maya, did you know the character's full backstory, or did they kind of come up with it as you were breaking into the role?
I knew nothing. They gave me
You're
2
Jon
scenes.
Snow.
Did he know nothing too? Was that his
yeah,
whole
that's
thing?
his line. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh, that is his line. I can't believe I didn't catch that. We were raving about Game of Thrones earlier today on another interview. What was I saying?
About not knowing about the character.
Oh, I was
Very
given
well.
2 scenes. No description except for Maya, firefighter, former Olympian. That was it. And I just did what I could with the scenes I had. I thought Andy was a man. Had no idea the context of the scenes. Like, just did what I could with it. Knew nothing. And then I booked it, and I still really knew nothing. And then I finally got a script right before the table read and read it, and I felt so silly because I thought Andy was a man. And I was like, oh my God, it's a woman. And I'm like, I've been playing it wrong the whole thing, and I'm having this nervous breakdown. And they're like, just play it the way you've been playing it. Just like, don't change anything.
Right.
Even though you thought it was a man. And I'm like, okay. So then did the table read, nervous about that, did the whole thing. But finally, after we were about to shoot, we had a sit-down conference with Stacey McKee, the entire cast, and Paris Barclay. And that's when they told us basically our backstories. We had each of us went and had our individual 2-hour conversations about our characters, gave any ideas or opinions we might have. And that's when they just told me, like, your character's also bisexual. I was like, awesome, let's do it.
So then it really didn't matter who you were playing against because it was working both ways.
Yeah. So it worked out. I mean, I liked the way we did it because it didn't put any pressure on me having to live up to what was on the script. It's kind of frustrating because you're like, oh, I have to make all this up in my head right now. Or you have to make a decision, which is scary as an actor. Of course, we would love to be told how to play a scene.
Of course.
I don't want to have to
go on your own devices.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and then be wrong.
Right.
And so I took a chance, and I was lucky enough that was an original take on the character that no one else had. And what I actually found out after, I was the only choice, which they couldn't tell me for negotiating purposes.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
not only is your character bisexual, but she's also a female firefighter, which isn't really represented on television that often. What was that like for you, stepping into a role where you would be representing a good portion of firefighters, I'm sure, are women?
Yeah. I was so excited, so happy. I don't know if you know this, but my sister is an actual Los Angeles firefighter paramedic.
Awesome. Did that help you get the role?
No,
Talking
they
to her
had
with
no
stories and
idea.
stuff?
Oh, I talked to her after, so she's been great while I've been filming, but I never called her once. I've kind of built this thing over the years that I don't talk to anybody about an audition, a callback, anything until it's booked and the paper signed.
That's smart. You don't want to jinx it.
Exactly. I'm really superstitious.
Yeah.
And so it was a very proud moment because I felt like I was representing her. It also put a lot more pressure on me because I wanted to represent her the best way I could, and to also make sure that that the script was doing the best it could, and I didn't know how they were going to go with the script or what was going to happen, and so I really came in with a lot of opinions and a lot of like, listen, please, we have to do right by this. Like, don't make it like, let's not sugarcoat it. Let's show how tough they are. Like, I want to do my own stunts. Like, I want to sit down. I want to go on ride-alongs with the cast on to more stations in LA. Like anything we possibly could. I just felt like it was a whole different level of we need to do right by this, and because there are so few of us.
Right.
I mean, I did a bunch of research just watching firefighter shows, and all I could are movies, and it was Ladder 49 and Backdraft.
Right.
No female firefighters. So it meant a lot to be kind of the first out of the gate, besides Chicago Fire and 911. That also 911 only has one.
Right.
And so it was like, okay, we've got to really do this. So I was excited, but I was very nervous.
Do you think it's a representation of people maybe not thinking women are as strong to be a firefighter? In terms of what gets put out on television?
Yeah, I think.
Or does your sister feel that way even as a firefighter?
That people.
Does she feel that stigma of maybe people think women aren't strong enough to be a firefighter or that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a huge thing when she actually got into the department is most of the men are like, I don't think I can trust you to carry me out of a building. If I needed, I can't, we're a team, we're going into a burning building, I need to know that you're going to protect me and save me. And so she has to prove herself. She's got to work 10 times harder and show them that she can. But also, too, to be able to make it through boot camp.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be there's no, like, you're not given a handicap, like in golf. You're not like, oh, you're a girl, so you don't have to do as much as them. Like, she had to go through just the same amount of training as they did, and she started out in her academy, it was 3 women, and she was the only one at the end. So, she proved herself in that regard, and then had to prove herself when she gets to every single station she moves to. But yeah, I think people just assume, some people assume women can't do it, and then other people assume women shouldn't do it, which is another one I hear, sadly, from a lot of people I know growing up in my hometown and stuff that are just like, look at my sister and go, you shouldn't, so when are you gonna get a desk job, and that's too dangerous for women, and it's like, what?
No,
too
2019.
You would think we'd be past that.
You would think, but some people are not. Past the 50s.
That's hard to hear.
Yeah.
So I think it's that stigma behind women aren't supposed to do that. That's too dangerous for women, and some men look at women as dainty, and they're supposed to stay dainty.
Very prehistoric way to think.
Really prehistoric. And I'm sitting there going like, anything he can do, I can do better.
That's
like,
right.
Give me the ropes, give me the hose, give me whatever.
Speaking of Maya this year, hooked up with her best friend's ex. So that. Speaking of female empowerment, how'd that go?
Yeah.
Was that a surprising turn for you, or did you know that was coming down the pike?
It was a surprising turn. I knew something was going to happen. They had kind of hinted or said something to me. One of the writers had slipped, and I was like, "Wait, what? Say again, what's happening?" And they're like, "It's not confirmed yet, but there might be something happening." I was like, "Okay." From an actor's perspective, I was excited because that's challenging to play.
Absolutely.
That's different layers. That's going against everything Maya represented. I love working with Gray. I think he's so talented. So those were all exciting from an actor's side of it. From of course, selfishly a storyline, I'm like, what is Maya doing? I loved playing Maya, and I loved how she kind of had this. She believed in honesty and integrity and her blunt optimism and just kind of. I love that about her in season 1, and so for her to kind of do a 180 was weird at first, but the way we played it out and the way they allowed me to play it on camera. When I said, I feel like there's because they showed me the storyline of what they were thinking, and I was like, so this is a real connection. She feels for him because of the PTSD. This happens organically, that she falls for him and doesn't want to fall for him. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just root this in so much honesty that even she can't comprehend it.
Right.
Like,
but people also evolve, and opinions change based on what's going on presently in their life.
Yeah.
So.
And we do things. We're humans. That's part of life.
Yeah. Have you gotten any backlash at all from that, or?
People have been in love with it.
Oh, good.
It was the exact opposite. I was prepared.
Yeah.
Because I think because of growing up with people saying nasty things on computers and comments, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm prepared. They may hate me for this, which would be hard because they loved Maya so much season 1, and everyone wants to be loved, but that's not the point of acting, is to be loved. No.
It's to play great characters.
It's to play great characters. So selfishly, of course, you want to stay loved, but I was like, I'm prepared to now be hated. And the reaction has been amazing. Even when I've been in New York this time for the upfronts, and fans will come up to me at all the events we've been to, and they're like, I love you and Gibson. Don't tell Andy I love you. Like, everyone has been really supportive of it, which surprised me. But I think it's also, it pays tribute to the way they played it out, and them really struggling with the fact that they were like, we need to tell her.
Yeah.
And then they get caught. and then spoiler, and then in the end, you know, it's still, their relationship's still solid for now.
And now you mentioned you have a new showrunner for the next season.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the changes that might bring for your character?
I am. I think some changes are always good. I think they keep people on their toes. It's sad. I love Stacey McKee, so it's sad that she went off to do other things. But I'm excited. I've heard Krista is they're night and day, so I think we're excited to see what comes of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think all of us are kind of sitting on the edge of our seats because it is more of a world of like, you know what, we need to kill this character off. It could happen at any time.
Right.
And we don't know. I mean, this Shondaland and world, that Shondaland world doesn't give you any heads up. You get the script, and that's the script, and you're like, okay, that's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And so that leaves you a little more on your edge. I mean, for stability purposes as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
During the upfronts, they mentioned that you guys were going to be doing a lot more crossovers with Grey's Anatomy. You guys were kind of going to be seamless once the show picks back up in January. Is there anyone on that show you'd be interested in working in that you haven't with so far?
Everyone on that show I think is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to watch it back in the day. I don't watch it as frequently anymore. I'm too stuck on Game of Thrones. But
Good
isn't
choice.
everybody?
Yeah. That'll be ending Sunday though, so you'll be okay.
I'm so sad about that.
Same.
I got stuck on Game of Thrones, and I'm like, what was I talking about?
Crossovers.
I mean, I love working with the people that we've already worked with, like Kelly McCurry, Jake Borelli, Giacomo.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to work more with Ellen. Like, there's some amazing characters, but I wish we would bring back characters like Sandra Oh, you know, from the back in the day, or Sarah Drew even, and like, because I've worked with Sarah on something else, like, and really get to do those characters. Those don't exist right now.
Right.
But I'd love to play with any of them. I mean, they're so talented at what they do, and they've been doing it for so long that I think it's kind of just, we're all a bunch of kids in a playground in the sandbox, and it's fun to kind of get to do those crossovers and get to do them more, and I'm really interested to see if relationships happen across
that would be interesting.
I think it'd be a lot of fun to kind of see who might end up with certain people on different shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason and Miranda do it, so, or Chandra.
Yeah.
I interswap the
I knew
characters.
exactly who you meant though.
But so I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it is going to be more seamless. I think it was hard to do in the first 2 seasons, those crossovers. That's why we didn't have as many, and now we're going to have a ton.
What's it like having fans? You mentioned you have fans coming up to you here in New York.
Yeah.
What's it like having fan interaction and having them not be behind a computer, and you can actually get a visual of, okay, they mean this how they're saying it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in front of them.
I love it. I love interacting with fans in general. I'm really big on social media too. So to actually get to see them face to face, take pictures with them. I've had to learn the whole like fake signing thing though. Like half the people, they just want to sign an autograph and then sell it. So I've had to learn like you have to be very cautious about that and put their names at the top and stuff like that. But those ones are that's weird. That's a weird world, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But the fans that actually are there to say they love the show and to show support and to take a picture with you and to just give any words of encouragement or whatever they want to say, I love. I think you do this because you love it as an actor, and I have so much passion for it, but there is something to be said about working those 16-hour days for 9 months straight, 5 days a week, you know, that the
It's
fans...
almost like you're in a bubble until it starts airing.
And then people see it and the reaction, and it's great. I mean, no one wants people to not have a good reaction to their show.
Right.
So it feels really good, and to have it make an impact on a lot of people's lives. A lot of girls say, I want to get into firefighting or EMT after watching the show, or just that they respect our characters so much, that they're such a great representation of women and of the LGBTQ community, that that means so much to me. I can't put it into words. It makes you feel kind of like, oh, this is bigger than just my love of acting.
And oftentimes a character becomes bigger than the actor that's portraying them, just because they're in people's living rooms and people see parts of themselves in each character. You're also very into care, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I saw a video where your sister was
my hero. Yep.
The sister that's a firefighter?
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's absolutely my hero. But Care is a great company. I've been looking for years because I love all that kind of stuff, and I was spreading myself a little bit too thin trying to find a company and kind of doing little things here and there. And then a writer from season 1 introduced me to Care and was like, do you want to come to DC for the Care convention? I was like, what is a Care convention? What are you talking about? And she sent me all the papers, and I went and just was filled with all this knowledge. They work in 92 countries. They're one of the oldest charitable companies. They basically fight for financial aid. They're kind of this umbrella company that then gives all that money to other smaller organizations that need it too. But they're basically, their whole purpose is to eradicate poverty by empowering women. because they did statistics and analytics about it, and they're like, if you empower the women of a village or a town or a community, it makes the entire town flourish. And so I was like, wow, okay. So and also they're not as hands-on. They're not there to come in and tell people what to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They go to these towns, they explain, what is it you need? What tools can we teach you to help better your guys' living in your community? And like one time they teach them, in one town they taught them credit and loan. And so they put people, they let them delegate who was in charge and whatnot, and they taught them how, credit works.
Right.
And so the farmer that owns, the goat farm can then come and get a credit and pay it back with interest. And they taught them that, because you realize that other countries don't have the tools to even comprehend that kind of stuff sometimes. Or they're like, wait, what? They make sense to them. It's just they don't do it. So even just giving them tools like that and then following up, or teach, or basically getting rid of sexual harassment in India with the taxi drivers, the tuk-tuk drivers. Like, they've done so many great things, and I can't wait to do my own learning tour, which we keep trying to do, but when you're working 9 months out of the year, it makes it a little more difficult.
Right.
But they do let me go to DC with them and talk on Capitol Hill to the congressmen and women. Last year we fought for IVAWA, which is International Violence Against Women's Act, which is just securing the funding to make sure that we constantly are still being proactive about eliminating violence against women in all countries in the entire world, and that we all are together. Like, we all, we're like, oh, we're the United States, oh, we're over here, no, like,
Yeah, women are women everywhere.
Women are women
Men
everywhere.
are men everywhere.
Yes.
There's too many categories of, this culture does that, it's fine, or
No.
this sexuality does this. It's people are people. You bleed red. You're
Yes, and we're humans,
Right.
and just to comprehend that. I don't want to word this incorrectly, but even to comprehend that with those tuk-tuk drivers, they didn't see sexual harassment as a bad thing. That was acceptable. Like, that was what, if you got into a tuk-tuk, it was like a taxi cab, then you could get sexually harassed, and that happens. Like, that's not okay.
No.
And it was almost
Just like here in New York when the construction workers whistle at you.
and it's
It
kind
happens
of
to me every day, Danielle. It's really a rough life to live.
I can't believe, no, sorry. I've seen videos of that. That's crazy, though, when that one woman did the entire video of getting catcalled the entire time she was walking. But things like that, it's like, it happens everywhere, and it's just educating people, like, you can't do that.
It must feel good using your stardom and your voice for
Good.
good,
Yeah.
and for being in people's lives, and then I'm like, oh, well, she's not just an actress who's playing a role, she also has causes that she's very passionate about and wants to make a difference.
It's scary at first, because I've never been someone that talks politically or really voices a very strong opinion. I have my opinions, but to say them out loud is even scarier than acting, because you're being judged on your own personal opinions, not a character you're playing.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah, so it is scary, and I'm getting better at it. But care is just one of those things that I am so passionate about that I'm like, I'll go to the mat and fight for them. I believe in what they're doing. So, and I'm still learning, and they're educating me as much as they can. But to be able to use my platform for good, it does feel amazing, and to use it to empower a company that is all about empowering women. And then the fact that they actually let me be. So many companies are like, we just give us money, we're fine. I'm like, I don't want to just give you money. I want to actually do something. And
which is great, because they may be used to celebrities just saying, oh, here, take some money and put it towards good use, which is a great thing to do. But when somebody wants to be, interactive with the charity and actually be the face of it, that is probably really great for the charity.
They seem
really
very happy. Yeah. And so I get to go back. They're going to do a conference call, and we're going to talk about what we're fighting for. It'll be in June, June 9th to the 12th. And so we'll sit down, and I'll actually be talking to the conference too about my experience so far with CARE and what they've taught me, and then I'll go to talk to some congressmen and women about bills. I'm like,
Not
okay.
the bad bills.
No.
The good bills.
Yes.
That will change. I noticed your Instagram story yesterday. You were adorable going to the Empire State Building. I never seen somebody so giddy and so genuinely happy to be somewhere. So did you get to do anything else fun while you've been here, or has it all been
It's all been for the most part,
yeah.
It's party. Empire State Building was the most, like, I got to go do an activity.
Yeah.
But I have so much fun. I'm like this person that loves life.
That's
Like, it's
awesome.
really hard to make me mad. Or upset, or just sad in general. But to get to be with my cast, we went to the Entertainment Weekly party, and then to get to go to the Empire State Building, and everyone was so nice. Renita at the Empire State Building was amazing. I guess she's like the main person that everyone loves. Do you know her too?
From your video, yes. I don't know her personally, but now the world knows her.
Now the world knows her, as they should. She's amazing. And so, we get these little perks, and I'm like, I have no complaints about life. This is amazing. And if I get to have a VIP tour of the Empire State Building, like, it was awesome. It felt great. So then just going to parties and getting to hang with cast and going to dinner and then getting to do interviews.
Yeah.
And getting to talk about the show, which I love.
Do you pal around with anybody from different networks or different shows on your network?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not on. So Melissa is one of my best friends, Melissa Roxburgh, and she's on Manifest, which is NBC.
I've interviewed her. Yes. She's
Yes,
lovely.
isn't she?
She's lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Melissa's amazing. And we met on doing a Supernatural pilot years ago. The spin-off pilot of Supernatural. So, and we've been friends ever since. And that's hard to find in this industry, and especially with women. I mean, it can be very competitive, and I don't understand why sometimes, because I'm like, we have no control of who books this job. Is what you learn as time goes on. You're like, just go in and do the best, and it's just some point it's just fate. Mm-hmm. And so it's weird when there's a lot of competition, but with me and her, it was just this instantaneous, like, oh, we're gonna be friends. Oh, this is okay, got it. And we've lived with each other in New York when we went to Bill Asper's studio. We lived with each other in LA. So
that's awesome.
We have a very great bond.
Nice to see women celebrating each other and not being competition and competitive with each other. And
it's very important. I think it's really important, and to show that you're supporting each other, and to show that you can support each other. This isn't like you can only have one or the other.
Right.
If they're being successful, then I'm not a success.
Right, and you can have disappointment. In fact, you're not getting a role, and maybe they book something else, but that doesn't mean you have to look down upon them or be jealous or.
No, not at all. I mean, you kind of wipe, and when you also realize that when you take that out of the picture, like Melissa did book a movie and she's filming, she's gonna start filming in a couple weeks. Like, I could not be more excited and happy for her. Like, you don't even have those feelings anymore of like, oh, I wish I got that. Like, no, like, it's not, if that's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Right.
So you kind of.
That's a great attitude to have.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
But it's Barrett and me are super close. I think anyone that watches social media knows that. We're like attached at the hip. We're going on a vacation together, which is gonna be awesome. And then the other one is Francia Raisa, who's on a Freeform show, Grownish. And those, I would say, those are like right now those in the industry that I'm the closest with the four of us are very close and tight knit, and it feels great to be four badass chicks like working, series regulars on shows and kind of just. And supporting each other in every way we can.
That's awesome. And finally, since it's come up 5 times now, who's going to be on the throne at the end? Who do you think? Or who do you want to be on the throne?
Okay, so this morning we had a whole thing about it, and someone was like, it might be Arya, and I'm like, no, it can't be. Yeah. I think it has. John.
That's what I mean.
I mean, I think it has.
The best character on television. No offense to Maya.
No offense taken. Yeah. I'm in agreement with that statement. I don't know, but then there's the Sansa thing. I said something wrong. The Sansa thing, I don't know how it's all going to play out. There's so much speculation. I could go about this for hours, but I think, are we in agreement that Daenerys is gonna,
she needs to.
She has to go.
She's got to go.
And she's got green eyes.
It was just it turned too quickly for me.
Like the Mad King. She became the Mad Queen.
Just so quickly, though.
And to kill.
Apparently, there's a backlash going around. They want HBO to redo the entire 8th season. Like, there's a petition. There literally is a petition going around. I swear to God, I saw it on Deadline before you came down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're petitioning to have them redo it because people are so outraged. I mean, even Cersei dying. This spoiler alert. It was just like. That was the way you killed her. Like, she deserves such a more horrible death.
That is,
It's just that was the payoff that she collapsed in rocks with her brother.
That one was a weird one. That one was weird. That Jamie's, I was okay with him to go out that way, but for her, it felt like it needed to really be me. She needed to deserve something way bigger. Yeah.
She was well deserving of a much more horrible death.
Yes, and so that was a little weird, but I feel like I like the change. I mean. It's hard because I get people fall in love with Daenerys and they loved her and they wanted her to be, and then to have this switch, it's like you basically have to admit it can't be.
Right.
It literally can't be now, and I think people are now just livid because.
I think my thing is she's going to turn on Jon, and that's going to be not a good thing.
Well, and what about
and don't turn on Jon because then you're immediately off my team. I don't care what happens to you after that.
Oh, Jon can do no wrong
in
anyone's eyes. And Sansa and Arya. But I'm very interested to see the whole green-eyed prophecy, and then I'm interested to see what happens with Tyrion. He betrayed her, so is he gonna? Remember, she said if he betrayed me one more time.
Yeah. Oh, she did. That's right.
And if she knows he betrayed her, right? I'm assuming she knows.
I would think.
She might not know.
Stop relying on your dragons. You had to have the dragon kill that one guy.
I know. Varys.
It was
I know Varys was not as bad as Littlefinger in any regard, but at the same time, he was the one that was passing secrets and doing things. But he was rooted in his his integrity of this is all about the realm.
Yeah.
And then he died. It was so sad.
Well, we'll know on Sunday. And we'll see. We will edit this interview, and if we were right,
then we'll post it. We should
Then
just
we'll
do.
post
We
it.
should just do a piece that's like, I think Arya will be. I think Sansa will be. And then you just do the one where
Just
she's like,
edit it,
Danielle
yeah.
knew. She knew.
Yeah, we're running the whole beginning of the interview though, because we acted as the finale was tomorrow for your show.
Yes.
So now
Oh,
the
that's
time
right.
is completely off.
People will be like, what? I'm so confused. Yeah, it's interesting to see. And what about the Jakahar, what's his name? The faceless man.
Oh, well, they think
What's-
Arya. Well, there was theories that Arya was going to go kill Cersei and be
Yes.
the faceless person, and it was
Yes.
going to be Jaime who did it, but it was because he was dead. And there's too many theories.
Well, I just think that still has to come back before the end. So I'm like, what's going to happen with, anyways, I don't know what's going to happen there, but
We will both be riveted to our seats.
I kind of don't want to. I kind of have this thing where I don't like ending shows. Like, I never saw the end of Breaking Bad
Same.
because
did
I was
not
like,
see
I
the
don't
end.
want it to end. So I'm just going to never see it. And then what I believe happened in my head happened in my head.
That's the bad thing about Netflix shows. As wonderful as they are that there's so much content, it's like, bam, you have 10 episodes, and then
Yep.
it's like, well, then it's over, and then now what?
I know I did that with you just recently. I really loved that.
It's an
I did
amazing
not
show.
expect. I didn't expect that at all. And I watched it and I couldn't stop watching it. And then I binged it and I was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah,
It was so good.
it was such an amazing show.
I'm excited to see. I hope it continues. You know, because it's kind of this. It ended and then it'll start and end. But it's
Yeah.
based on books, right? It's an author.
It is based on books. There's
Okay.
the first book, You, and then there's a follow-up to it. I think it's called Hidden Bodies.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Which makes sense.
It does.
But
It
yeah,
does.
how do you say Penn?
Penn
last name?
Badgley.
Badgley. It is Badgley, not Bagley. Badgley. Yeah, he was
He's phenomenal.
phenomenal and very, very.
Though.
Yes.
Like, but you felt bad for him at certain points, and
yes.
it's just like, wait, I'm feeling bad for a murderer. Like, I just don't like.
Why?
That's a testament to someone's acting.
Yeah.
And even he was conflicted about it because people were like, "Oh, I wish you'd come kill me," or like, "I can see he's so romantic," and like,
People
It's
say
like-
that? That's
people
weird.
are-
That's like the
people are-
Ted Bundy thing, right?
yeah, people are a little nuts.
That's a little creepy.
But before we get ourselves in trouble,
It's
let's
that whole
end this
thing.
now. And we'll talk off camera. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thank
Danielle. It
you
was such
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.